So today's the last day of spring. When I will be uploading this, it's not going to be spring anymore, it's going to be summer. But that means that this is the last video in my spring sewing series. In today's video, I'm making a waist cincher, and it's based on a runway look that I found on Pinterest from a brand called Aniye Records. They make a lot of very romantic, feminine, but also edgy kind of looks. It's giving like Victorian rock and roll to me, which is exactly what I like. And today I am making a waist cincher that I took some artistic liberties with because I just couldn't make it exactly the same as they did. So without further ado, let's get to sewing. I used the Vogue 7427, which is a pretty old pattern. I don't know, I think it's from the 90s, maybe early 2000s. Basically just took the middle part of the pattern because obviously it's not a waist cincher shape, so I shortened it. I made a mock-up first and then I cut that to the length that I wanted it to be. When I look at the picture of the original design, I can see a few very obvious differences. So I think what they did is they used a mesh base for the corset part that is see-through. I can see through the ruffles very slightly. You can see the shirt, you can see a little bit of her skin color, which means that they didn't use an opaque fabric underneath. And it's most likely a very stiff mesh. And then they have the boning on the outside, not on the inside. I didn't have mesh like that. I went with the stiff cotton on both sides. This is lined. There's an outside, there's an inside, and then there's the ruffle on the outside as well. So I've got 3 layers. And I put the boning on the inside because I wasn't sure that if I would make the channels on the outside, I could make them strong enough to last. And I would also have to work very securely. At first I wanted to do the outside channels that would be purely decorative with bias tape. But I think that that didn't look as nice as I wanted it to. And this is where I diverted a little bit further from the original design. And I used a velvet ribbon for it. And to me, that looks really good. Like I'm really happy with that design choice. It adds a little bit extra texture that otherwise wouldn't have been there, and it would have looked a little bit more bland if I hadn't. Because the ruffles aren't sheer, it would have all kind of looked samey, and I wanted a distinct difference between the ruffles and the channels. So now they're definitely not channels, no boning could go through it. Also the bottom ruffles are different, so they probably use the same sheer material for part of the ruffle and attached lace to it. One of the biggest mistakes that I made while making this was that I pinned the pleats of the ruffles on the finished corset, on the outside layer. Everything was sewn together, but because of the pattern, it's not a flat shape, but I pinned it on there when it was flat. So it was a really big struggle to get it to look right. In some places it wasn't pinned right and it kind of lost its shape partially because of that. I've thought about this if I would make this again, and there are kind of like 2 options that I have. One is to sew the pleats, the ruffles, whatever, on before I put all the panels together. So every panel is gathered individually. It would add some bulk to the seams, so I don't know if you want that. And another option would have been to put it on a mannequin that has my measurements. That would have been a good option, but I didn't feel like doing that, even though I do have a mannequin that has my measurements. Yeah, I just didn't feel like doing that. And that was a little bit of a mistake. I do regret that. If you pin it on a mannequin, it's no longer flat, obviously. It's a 3D shape and it has the right shape that it will have in the end. I think that would have sped up the pleating, the ruffling process so much, because I think I took like 6 hours pleating everything, trying to get it to lay right. It did alter the shape of the panels as well, so it's no longer symmetrical. and the end result is a little bit crooked. Okay, so final thoughts. Even though the final result is quite different from the original inspiration picture, I really like how it turned out. And I was actually, at some point, I was like, I can't believe that I made this. I just love it so much. Despite the flaws, I'm really happy with the way it turned out. The crookedness does bother me, I'm not gonna lie about that. But I'm really proud with how I managed to make it work without really having a tutorial or a proper pattern for this. I kind of like winged it, chopped up another pattern and made do. I've learned a lot from this. There's, like I said, things that I would do differently next time. I might make this again, I'm not sure. I think for now I've had enough of pleating fabric to make ruffles like that. But it was really a fun experience and I'm just so impressed that I made this. It just looks so cool. I don't know what else to say. I think it looks really cool. I like that this is kind of functional as well. Like I can pull it pretty tight and it doesn't break. So I'm gonna take a little sewing break. I'm going to be visiting my family for like a week and then I don't think I'm gonna go back to sewing right away. I do have a lot of projects planned, so you can expect me to upload pretty regularly. Otherwise, see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. Please like and subscribe if you haven't and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. And for now, I hope you have a nice summer and I'll see you guys later. Okay, bye!